Because logographic systems are perhaps the most different from our own alphabetic one, we'll look a little closer at one system, the ancient Maya of southern Mexico and Central America. And we'll look at how ancient Mayan was decoded by epigraphers. And epigraphy is just the study of ancient writing systems like cuneiform or Linear B. The classic Mayan period was a flourishing of architecture, art, religion from around 250 AD to 900 AD. The Maya built amazing temples and were obsessed with time and religion. Plus, they had a very sophisticated writing system that used both logograms and syllabograms. And the Maya wrote on everything they could get their hands on, including bark paper books called codices. These were screen-fold books, more like maps than our books today. Sadly, one major impediment to deciphering the Maya writing system was that it was assumed early on by Sir Eric Thompson to be purely pictographic, picture ideas that didn't represent the specific sounds of language. Another impediment to the decipherment was that Eric Thompson, very influential Maya scholar, thought that based on some of the codices that he'd looked at, that the Maya were peaceful gentlemen scholars. The Maya, as it turns out, were very much like other civilizations with science, religion, art, as well as warfare. Contact with Spanish representatives of the Catholic Church was perhaps the biggest impediment to decipherment. Bishop Diego de Landa destroyed every Maya book that he could find. In his works, he said that the Maya were overwrought with sorrow over this loss of their books, which he failed to appreciate. He couldn't quite understand why they were so overcome. And he also assumed that Maya writing was alphabetic. When he asked the Maya how to write the Maya alphabet, they gave him the above symbols, now called the Landa alphabet, which still has epigraphers scratching their heads. Tatiana Proskuryakov, an artist and Maya scholar, noticed that the dates on Maya monuments occurred within the span of a person's lifetime. And this led to a breakthrough in the meaning of Maya writing on monuments, that it was historical and that it recorded the ascension to the throne of kings, their birth date, important dates about conquering other kingdoms, and so on. A second scholar that contributed to Maya studies was Yuri Knorosov, who was working in relative isolation in Russia. And he figured out that the Maya script was a true writing system representing the sounds of language. But his ideas were largely ignored because Sir Eric Thompson held so much sway over this field of study. Eventually it came to pass that scholars were able to appreciate Knorosov's findings and recognize that yes, indeed, the ancient Maya writing system really was a true writing. And it was appreciated that modern day Maya were speaking languages related to the classic Maya, and you can use these to try to piece together the meaning of the ancient script. Again, it turns out that Maya writing was not all about... So it turns out that much of Maya writing, especially on the architecture, has to do with political propaganda. These are kind of like elite billboards for political leaders. They document the births, ascension to the throne, conquests, marriages, alliances, sacrifices, and of course the deaths of rulers as part of political aggrandizement and legitimization. As in some societies today, not everyone in Maya society was literate. Maya writing was a specialized craft, meaning that a class of scribes specialized in this craft. It's thought that the general populace was actually illiterate and that reading and writing were the privilege of the elite. And so this political propaganda was really about one kingship communicating its rank and power to another kingship. Here's how Maya writing worked at the basic level. So the Maya system was both logographic and syllabic, or you could call it logosyllabic. So you can see the logogram on this side standing for a whole word, and these are the syllabograms, syllables standing for clusters of sound. So Maya scribes had the option of using a logogram or using syllabograms to represent a word. This is like using the sign for 4 to represent the number 4, or using the alphabet to represent the number 4. So it's not that different from our own system. In some cases, the Maya logograms actually look like the things that they represent. So here we have spider monkey, and you can see a kind of spider monkey in here. Or bat kind of looks like a bat. In other cases, the resemblance is harder to see. And here are the Mayan syllabograms. So again, a Maya scribe would have choices about which syllabogram to use. And this works by a crosstab system in which the consonant is here and the vowel is here. So these represent na. This represents pa, sa, ta, and so on. Maya syllables were often consonant, vowel, consonant in form. Not perfect for a syllabary, but doable. So what Maya scribes did was they used 2 consonant-vowel syllabograms to convey 1 consonant-vowel consonant syllable. So the sound of the second vowel is suppressed, kind of like a silent E. Not so different from us, the Maya writing system sometimes didn't have a one-to-one correspondence between sound and sign. So as we've seen, we often blend logograms with our alphabet, and the Maya blended logograms with syllables, and they did this to clarify what was being said. They would use the logogram, for example, the one meaning shield, pakal, but since they're communicating oftentimes between kingdoms, it might be confusing to the reader from a neighboring kingdom, so they tacked on a syllable that is not pronounced. It's at all. It's silent. But it clues the reader in that the word ends in a l or l sound instead of an n sound. So we know it doesn't mean sun, it means pakal. And this is called a phonetic complement, and you can kind of think of it as a helper or a clue to the meaning of the word. So just like you have choices when you're texting, you can write things out or you can use a kind of logogram, the Maya scribes had choices about how to write a word or a sentence. Since writing was often on stone or architecture, sometimes the selection or the choice had to do with space and what would make the biggest artistic impression. Finally, the Maya wrote in what's called a glyph block, usually containing between 1 and 5 glyphs, and sometimes even more. And these glyphs would form a single word or even an entire phrase. And the glyph blocks are usually read from left to right and top to bottom. And so rather than organizing sentences and phrases linearly along a line, they stuck them together in an artistic way. And so the Maya writing system was not just about communicating and conveying information. It was also a highly advanced art form.